We're rolling with Dr. K. Dr. K. 100 shades of diversity every day. We're rolling with Dr. K. Oh, Dr. K. 100 shades of diversity every day. Ah, yeah, we're rolling.
I love it. I have to give a shout out. My son says it sounds like an old Negro spiritual. I'm old. Come on now.
Yeah, keep that spirit in there.
I'm old. I don't need no bebop and all that other kind of stuff. This is real what we're talking about. But good afternoon. You are rolling with the doc on today. We are still in our Get the Vote Out. So we have 12 shows dedicated to getting the vote out, talking to different folks in different sectors about their opinions, about voting, why they're voting. Do we have to know who you're voting for? I don't know. We might could talk about it, but the mission of 100 Shades of Diversibility is to improve the quality of life for those persons with diverse abilities and their families legislatively. So that's why we're talking about voting economically through community partnerships and education. And I am excited about my guest today. I met him, I think, last week at another meeting through my job. And again, I'm a little bit older, and I have to. He's like trying to give me stuff. I said, "Look, I'm old. This is how I have to do it. Let me take a picture, put. Then I can just put the information in my phone. Then I got to do a selfie with you so I can remember. Like, okay, I might remember the name, but the face and where did we meet? But I'm telling you, there are some people that you may not remember their name, but you will always remember how they treated you. And this young man right here, Von Ruff, whoo, sir,
How you doing?
sir, the way you made me feel, the way you treated me was just, it make anybody grandmama proud. I had to go all the way back to somebody grandmama. I did. It was one of them kind of grandmama kind of proud moments. It was not a mama, but a grandmama. Because you know how your granny make you speak to everybody when she take you to church.
Yes.
Miss so and so or auntie, and but you gotta she make you stop and speak to everybody and have a kind word. And then they got to pinch you on your cheek and give you the
Mhm.
nasty purse candy. Here, baby, you want a mint? How long this been in there? It tastes like purse, like
It always got something stuck to it.
yeah. Then she got to peel it off. Yeah, yeah, and be like, here, and your grandma be like, you better take that boy and say thank you. But it tastes like purse. It's nasty. It got her wig hair on it.
All on it.
We want to say thank you to Jerry Taylor for tuning in on today. We appreciate you. And if you are tuning in via TV, GRTV 25, today is Tuesday. Can y'all believe it? The 22nd of October, with 15 days left until the election. And as we were in the green room, Mr. Ruff informed me that he has already voted.
Yes, yes,
Y'all put
yeah.
your hands together. Put your hands together. Put your hands together. And for those of y'all who don't know sign language, first of all, when you clap, you gotta have two good hands. Right, right. You gotta have two good hands. If not, you do sign language, and that means clapping.
Okay, just like that.
This right here is clapping.
Okay.
Yeah, it's clapping. How are you today?
Doing good. Doing very good.
What you do today?
I just got back from Indianapolis earlier this morning. I had to take my son to school, and then I had to get ready for a meeting at 2 o'clock, and then I came and hopped on here.
Ooh, you almost like what one of them hardest working men who's not in showbiz, right?
I wish I wasn't in showbiz, but I do my best when it comes to shows and making sure that I'm available to help and assist to put on whatever shows in my area.
But wait a minute, we got to tell the people. You just, if you will, in my air quotation, just did the best show. It was history in the making, the show that you just did. Mm, two snaps, I could snap. You did. You put together, assisted with one of the most monumental shows. How did it make you feel?
To be able to be a part and witness Kamala Harris in person, give out a great speech, um, what she's fighting for when it comes to unions. I am a proud union member going on 3 years. As a young person, I'm only 33. I sit as a chairman for my organization of IATSE, Local 26 Stagehands. And she made me feel that one day I actually will be able to own a house coming soon. Um, I would have wages that would meet my standards when it comes to my income to pay all my bills, car insurance, car note, house insurance, provide food on the table. Um, it was great to actually see a black woman up there speaking, not just in front of me, but in front of the whole world. And it's great. It was great to actually witness that, see a lot of different people happy to see her. It was a moment you had to be there for.
You really did. And I'm grateful that I was 2 seconds away from the stage, that we had an opportunity, you know, to witness history. Kamala Harris was here on, I should say, vice president, presidential candidate. Let's put some title on it there, okay? Let's put some title on it. Vice president in standing and presidential candidate Kamala Harris was as Grand Rapids on Friday. And I'm telling you, the number of people, I mean, it was unbelievable. And actually, and I'm gonna say this because I can, because I'm old enough to do it. There were more white people there than there were black people.
Definitely was. Definitely was. That's
I'm
great.
looking around, and we were just little spit spots in a sea of white folks. I said, "Oh my goodness." So the fact that everybody believes that just because they're white, they're Republican and they voting for Trump is so not true. I mean, these people, the line literally was a mile long.
It was very long. Very
It was a mile long. Just from the end of the line, just to come up to the park, that was a half a mile. It was another half mile, closer to a mile, to come all the way in to where she actually was going to be. So that's what we can really guesstimate about a mile and a half long line of people, and they were 95% white.
Yes, yes. Actually, stood in the line with a few different people as I was trying to figure out how to get to my individual with the Democrat Party, and it just amazed me of how many older white people were there.
Yes.
Um, like I come from a slave owning family, so and my family's in the South at that, which it's still segregated down in the South. So to actually be in line with older white people going to see the vice president that is a black woman,
That part. Mm-hmm.
And you're not just here to spit hate. You're not spitting hatred at all. It's nothing racial coming out of anyone's mouth. Everyone's happy. They're glad that to be here. That she's a woman. They're glad she's a woman. Like they're not even. It's not even about a black or white thing. It's she's a woman, and she's speaking up for just not just women, little girls, young teenagers, older ladies. It's just she's speaking up for so many more people than we actually realize. I can say that I didn't realize. I didn't realize that how big of support that she has outside of her race.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned the demographics. To see all of the older white people just standing there with T-shirts on. I mean, not that they just show up, but they had some of the best T-shirts on. Some of them had this picture of her as a little girl with pigtails. I'm like, where did these folks find these pictures of her? To make these T-shirts. And then they had some T-shirts had who did what in history so that Kamala could be where she is right now. It was amazing. There was a small pocket of Hispanics that were right in front of me that were dressed to the nines and everything concerning Kamala. I saw so many folks that had on their chucks and pearls. It, it was amazing. I think I was more happy to see everyone else. Yes, was I sad that I didn't see that many black people? I was, but I was more happy to see a bunch of white folks that love her, care about her, and want her in office.
And that's like the most historical moment I feel like as a black man. Because I called my grandma right afterwards, and explain this to her.
What did
Um,
Granny say? Oh my gosh.
oh, Granny was definitely happy to watch it, to be able to watch it and to witness it. So to see for her to be alive right now, and see Obama make it to office. Now
How old is she?
my grandma is about 76 now.
Okay.
So she's up there and she's witnessed a lot. She's seen it all. And she's a very strong Southern woman. So for her there to witness two black individuals come to the White House, I believe we speak it into existence. She's getting that White House.
Oh
And
yeah.
and what she's gonna do, I believe she's a woman of her word. She's gonna take us somewhere that we didn't see coming.
I agree. I agree. I love the number of stars, if you will, that have come alongside her to help her. I love that Obama is making his rounds to make sure, he's out there campaigning for her. I love how all of the governors are going along with her in their little tour bus and
Yeah.
on her behalf. And wait a minute, and they all came out looking like quadruplets because they all were dressed alike. I was like, look at this. This is so much history in that we have a woman governor that was leading the pack on
Yes.
Friday. I mean,
Yeah.
that was monumental. That was historic.
And it's a great thing to see woman power in our nation this strong. Governor to vice president, soon to be president. It's it's about time we get women in power to do some things and make some changes and like be able to speak up for what they want and what they need.
I tell you, they've often said that a woman couldn't be president because she's too emotional. But I tell you, I've seen more men that have been presidents in my lifetime that have been more emotional and oh, more PMS than I've ever seen any woman. And I've been a woman all my life. They have thrown more temper tantrums, started more fights, started more wars, created more conflict. You know, There's something about a woman. She thinks differently. She wants to pull everybody together. Let's sit down and reason together. That's what the Bible says. Come, let us reason together. And I think we do that more so than men do, just by our sheer gender, our nature. We have a tendency to do that more so than men do. You know, there have. Am I talking? I'm talking like you're not even a man, right? I'm
Oh no,
talking.
I'm listening to you. I'm very I was raised by a single mother, and then I had to learn how to become a man on my own. Um, so everyone got their opinion. I mean, all men ain't good. All men is not soft. All men is not hard. Um,
Ooh,
some men do let their woman lead the pack. You just it's all about what your liking is.
I told a young couple just yesterday. I asked them to come on the show, and they were like, "Oh, absolutely." She can schedule the time, and I'll have the words. And I said, "Well, that sounds good." And I said, "You guys stay that way, because you do what works in your relationship. If she's good at finances, but you're good at remembering when the bills need to be paid, just make sure you tell her so that she can write a check, or make sure it comes out of the account." So you do what works well. But we did have that conversation on yesterday where he thought being a man meant he needed to be hard. And she's like, no, just be human, be just normal, not all of those walls. And I think that society has made the decision, how a man should be, how a woman should be. And then you add in being in a position of power, it gets exacerbated.
It does, and it confuses everybody, and that's what something Tyrese, he's been coming out more and crying on national platforms. And a man crying is something, like you said, you're not supposed to do that. But at the same time, it's like a little bit of healing to the soul. Your mental stress reduces. You let out a little bit of tears in a room or in a bathroom alone. But I think all men should start opening up more, and it reduce a lot of stress.
Speaking of stress, I had an opportunity to read through your bio, and I don't know how much you want to share, but I'll let you share what you want. But what I will say, your history does not make you a young man who would be interested in voting or involved in politics. Would you agree?
No, I would totally agree with that. Yes, I would agree with that.
And so, how did you pivot from the life that you had into being interested in politics and wanting to be a part of the change?
Um, I believe experience is the root to all problem solving. Now that I've made it through my storm of all my problems, I'm trying to be a problem solver. Um, Mental health was something I dealt with. I have PTSD, schizophrenia, so that means I flip out at any time, any point. It could just happen. I do my best of controlling it. If that's with talking to different mentors, if I can't reach them by phone, I reach them through email. If I can't reach them, I reach a close family member. I was struggling with finding support when it comes to my disability, my mental disability, and it was like I wasn't getting much help back home. I'm from Holland, Michigan, Ottawa County, and I was told to come to Kent County in Grand Rapids where I could get more help. And I started getting a little bit more help, and things started changing for me. I started getting more control of my mental stress, started getting more control of my finances, um, actually holding down a stable job that fits for me, um, that I could deal with multiple people walking behind me and not have to look over my back every 10 seconds, um,
Mhm.
or having negative thoughts. And so once I started getting that, I started reaching out to the community, going to different organizations, and start learning a little bit about politics. Started going to the city commission meetings, start learning about that, and start learning about like the budget and what money is getting broken down to and what it's going towards. Uh, and then I started learning about the voiceless, people that have disabilities that get talked down on, looked down on, and no one actually speaks up for them. And so I just want to be an individual like I fit that. Like I'm an individual that you might not look at as mentally disabled, but it's there. And I wanted to start speaking up about it and talking to people about it and like raising a voice because we're just like on a back burner. People forget about us that we're there.
As someone who suffers from PTSD, I definitely understand that, and I definitely understand. And we've done several shows talking about it. That it's not just soldiers who have PTSD. That there are people who have life experiences that can cause some pretty traumatic life situations where you will have post traumatic stress disorder. So, for those who don't know what PTSD is, the acronym is post traumatic stress disorder. And so that kind of evolved into you wanting to let's look at who's making the decisions for me concerning my everyday life. When you talk about going to the city commission or the county commission meetings, they're the ones who get money for your district and the funding for you to even get mental health.
Right.
So it is important. So if you're not voting for the person who is like, oh, we need to funnel some money into Network 180. Is that how you kind of thought
Persuade
about
it.
it? Mm-hmm.
I just literally just started like getting into it, because like things were getting cut, fundings were started getting cut. Um, and I don't even remember who like dragged me to actually start getting into politics. But somewhere down the line, it just fell in my lap, and I just started focusing on it and asking the questions about it, and kept showing up about it, and getting around the right people to learn more about it.
I appreciate the fact that you are an early voter. What made you make that decision instead of going in person?
I didn't have to wait in a line. I could get it right in my mail, and I had time to look at it, look up each candidate, fill it out, and then go ahead and head downtown and drop it off in a box.
That is excellent that you say that. Uh, but it is now 23 minutes after the hour, and we want to say thank you so much for tuning into Rolling on the Road with Victory. 12 days, or I should say 12 shows of Get Out the Vote, talking to folks who have already, as our guest here has already voted. And a big shout out to Candace Chivis, who used to be a commissioner here in Grand Rapids, but has now moved to North Carolina and said that she's already voted. As soon as she saw the flyer for today's show, she's like, hey, I voted, Dr. Kimberly. And I'm like, yeah, down there in North Carolina. And Gail Anderson, who is here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, let me know last week during one of the shows that she has voted early. So big shout out to all of those folks who have already turned their ballots in. Um, I had an opportunity to speak to my Uber driver, and he says that he didn't know who the people were, and he may have inadvertently voted for the wrong person last election. And so tell us where you went to find out about your candidate.
I usually use Google and find out the different candidates. I look up the Democrat Party, the Republican Party, and see who's running for each section. Um, if that's state level, city level, or federal level.
That's smart.
So yeah, I literally just go to city commission. Like I look up my city, Grand Rapids, city commission candidates, Grand Rapids mayor candidates, and it just pops right up and it gives me the name, copy and paste the name and to another window, and then I just compare both, and just look through the history, and see what I do like, what I don't like, what they done in the past, what they didn't do, and just do a little bit more homework than just going down and just marking names.
That I commend you for your due diligence. I commend you. Um, if you are not as diligent, you can go to vote.org and you put in your state, your county, and your city, and it'll give you the list of your candidates. Or you can do as my young brother did here. You know what we like to do around here. We Googled it. We like Google around here. Yeah, we like Google. But many people aren't going to take the time to do that. So once you learned about the candidates, how have you encouraged your contemporaries to vote?
Um, by just telling them, I'm a Democrat, so I literally tell them, vote, what's best for your public schools, for you, for low income individuals. We have to focus on, our housing prices are continue to going up, gas prices, food prices, even childcare is outrageous these days. So I don't like I have friends that support Trump, and those kind of conversations could go left or go right, but it's just what makes sense is your current reality. It is Trump gonna fit your reality, and if
Oh, I love it.
he's not fitting your reality, then I don't see why we're supporting an individual that is not going to support and change my reality for the better of for me and my child. So my conversations with my Trump supporter friends, they do get kind of tense.
I like that. Does your candidate address your reality?
Yeah, like I don't see if we went to public schools, but you don't want to support a Democrat that actually support public schools, but you want to support the Republican that want to take funding away from public schools, or when your grandmother was sick during COVID and she couldn't get medical supplies, but you want to support the Republican that said, no, we're not sending them medical supplies. It's like, why are we supporting this individual who's not caring about the reality? Like, I understand if we have a vision of where we want to be at, but that vision is not fits is not our reality. And
I like that the vision is okay. The vision is not the reality. I love it. These are some great nuggets that you drop in here, brother. You really are. And that has been the big piece of, what do you say to those who want to vote for the other side when you look at it? I guess my next question to you would be, I know you did your homework, but when you see those ads that come on television, that are on the radio, how do you not pay attention? I guess it's not necessarily. I'll back up a little bit. If you had not done your research, right?
right,
You only do it based off of the commercials that you see. Would you still vote for the same person?
I'm gonna have to say yes,
Okay.
because if you hear an individual speak, and it doesn't add up. I mean, my son is 4 years old, and I'm sure that he makes clear conversations and says things that are not outrageous, and you would just think that those make common sense coming from a 4 year old. From a person that's over 65, to say certain things, you have to think about 5 different times before responding, to an individual who backs a person up like that. I support everybody. I'm a person with learning disability. I'm gonna just put that out there.
Okay.
So if I, with my learning disability, I just know some things I wouldn't, as a public figure, I wouldn't want to be said or let be aired out. Um, I would think twice before I did the next viewing of going live. Me and my team would have to talk about certain things that was being said, and fact checks would need. So I would, the support of his supporters are questionable.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Yeah. 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 I guess because in my mind, when I listen to some of the rhetoric on television and on radio, and wait a minute, they even butt into my Tubi time. Tubi.
They make sure they get all platforms.
And I said, wait a minute, they doing commercials on Tubi? Come on now. I thought Tubi was safe. Man. I said, well, let me go over to Netflix. They don't have no commercials on Netflix. Or let me go. Look, I'm doing all these shameless plugs for them. Or, let me go over to Paramount or even Prime Video or something. Hulu. No, even Hulu has live television. YouTube TV has live. So there's commercials on there. But I listen to some of the commercials and I'm like, who sat and thunked this up? Because it doesn't make sense. Make it make some sense. What you're saying. Do you think really that a woman would release a person if she knew that they would go and rape a child and bury them alive? Who would even want to repeat that? And to hear that commercial played 15, 20 times in an hour, it's so disparaging.
Right.
When there's nothing that she has said and nothing that she has done to this point would lead me to believe that she would knowingly do something like that.
Any any anything to be said to get votes at this point in my young adult life, I believe anyone would say anything to portray you to not vote for the certain party that you want to vote for. And that's the point of going back to do your research as well. 'Cause Google has it all.
Yeah, it was interesting when I Googled myself while I was running, and I was like, I didn't know that article had been published about me. I didn't know that so and so said that about me, and it wasn't anything negative, you know, just certain things. Oh, we have a guest in here from Bel Air, Maryland. Hey, Shayna, welcome to the conversation. We're just talking about the things that we hear on television and some of these commercials. Like who in their left mind or even their right mind would believe some of the things that are being said. And I can only imagine the kind of conversations that you and your friends probably have had. Have you been able to sway folks another way?
I believe I have. Um, just a little bit, not very much, but just a little bit, just a little bit.
Are there any that are adamant about not voting?
I have a lot. I run into a lot of that. My generation is really not big on voting, but you get some that do vote. But some like, no, I'm not voting. I'm getting into voting. So it's a hit and miss.
And what is the reason for not voting?
A lot of people just don't believe in it. They don't believe their vote matters.
Well, when they tell you that you will not be receiving your food stamps,
Then they vote then, huh?
I bet you'll say, "Wait a minute, wait a minute, what?" Mhm. There will be no more Medicaid. You bet y'all think about that next. Or I'm sorry, you will not receive cash assistance. We are no longer helping you to pay your rent, your lights, and your gas bill. There is no more emergency services. I think I appreciated that about our other 30-year-old guest last Tuesday, who said, even if you don't want to vote for the president, you need to find out who your local leaders are, and you need to at least vote for them because they're the ones who are going to be controlling what happens in your day-to-day life,
Right.
you know. And I thought that was a very good point that he made because that's true. What ward do you live in?
You know what? I get asked this a lot, and I really do not know because I'm really on the border of like Kentwood and Grand Rapids. So I've looked at it multiple times and I still don't know because it's literally like if you look at and they also they Kent County changed how
The
that they changed that too in my time of living in my apartment. So I do not know. I literally just vote. I make sure I vote. That's all I do is vote.
Lord.
As long as I get that vote in,
Well, then how did you know who to vote for?
because it's in my, it comes out on my ballot. All the individuals come on my ballot.
This is true.
So I just look up. I just go down that every like your question is asking. Each ballot would be different compared to where you're staying at.
Because I live in Byron Center, so my ballot will look different than yours, being on the cusp of Kentwood and what Grand Rapids.
In Grand Rapids. So I know I vote for Grand Rapids. I just don't know what ward I'm in. Because the map changed.
I was like, somebody's out there. Oh, that's the caretakers. It's that time they cut down all the old. It's the fall time. I wish we could do that with people. You just cut it all down and grow new people for spring. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that sometimes we need to take a look at nature and see what nature is doing.
Trying to
That
say,
because a tree, if if that branch is not producing, guess what? Come the fall, when the tree starts to shut down, it's gonna fall off and
right,
say, I need to conserve my energy and nourish the branches that are producing. So we need to nourish them people that are producing some things in our communities. Hint, hint. So I like that. You got to look and see what their track record is. And if you voting for a state rep, you know that you can go on there, look them up, and find out how many bills have they initiated
okay,
and what did they initiate. Yes, 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 yes. And if it's not anything that has anything to do with, what did you say? I'm gonna quote you. You said, "Does it match my reality? What they're trying to do? If it doesn't, mm-mm. Yep. Does their vision?" And then you added the vision. It says, "Does their vision match my reality?" Because some people, I will say this because I can say it. Um, I'm telling you, that's what something happens when you get grown, real grown. You just start saying stuff and you don't even apologize no more. Mm-mm, mm-mm. That's their 100 shades. And when you look up 100 shades, it says owner, executive, founder. It says me. I don't take no monies. I don't get no grants. So I can speak freely.
Amen.
I love it because that's what people need. And too many people are bound because, oh well, I gotta have that money. Guess what? You we just gonna make it do what it do. And God always gives provision for the vision. He really, really does. But when I look at the life that each of them have lived, and I have to be honest, I do not know what a gallon of milk costs. I do not know what a loaf of bread costs because I don't eat bread and I don't drink milk. So I can't tell you. So y'all can't ask me. Now, Vice President Kamala, she might know. I know former President Trump don't know at all. But I love the fact that she's trying to restore the middle class and having lived a middle class life and enjoyed a good life compared to someone who's been rich all of their life and somebody has always done something for them. You will probably never sign into law or make changes that is going to reflect, as you say, my reality, because you don't have any context nor understanding of my lived experiences. And I think that's important, that when you choose a candidate, what are their lived experiences? And to know that she had to take care of a mother that had cancer. And I mean, even as she said, I did have the ability to take the time off from work to be able to take care of her. So that made me think, how many people couldn't do that? He don't have no concept of that.
Right.
And even if we start looking at some of our local officials, what is their lived experience? Does it look anything like my reality at any given time in their life? Yeah, we got to stop and think about that.
Okay, because that's important. Even with especially with like the school board. I was just in a meeting last week with a young lady, and she's talking to the school board. And I asked her like, well, is there a person from the teacher union on that school board? Because there's no person on the teacher from the teacher union on the school board who's speaking up for the teachers. And like those type of things matter. Like, I mean, I'm young and I'm just like getting into politics, learning about school boards and things like that. Um, but now that my son is going into kindergarten, like those are the type of things I want to know what's going on. Because like, why am I taking my hard earned money, donating money to the school for school supplies? Why the state not doing that? So
Mm.
it's these are reasons why I vote. Why I got into like to learn about politics because I got to know, I got to have some type of answers for my next court for my questions that I keep coming up with. I meet with multiple mothers. I can say I'm probably like the only father that usually in the room. I'm usually in a room full of mothers, and where we're talking about issues that are happening in schools, what's being said, what's being done. I remember when I first started going into politics and going to attending the school board, there was a school that didn't have AC, and it was like crazy that a school didn't have AC, but you want them to learn in the heat. Like that is a reason why I wanted to start learning more about politics and who's on these school boards and what they're doing. Do their kids go to this school? Do they even live in this school district? Those are like key things that we need to be focused on, because if they're not living in this district, they don't care about my kid's schooling, what my kid's supplies look like, if he has the right updated book in his school. All those type of things matter.
They do. And I am so grateful, grateful. Did I say grateful? I'm going to say it again. Grateful that you didn't allow your past to determine what your future was going to be. You
Um,
literally, as they say, broken that cycle in your family. You have, because look at what you're providing for your son. Just showing up and being present in his life speaks volumes. And then to know you go above and beyond that. All right, I want to know who's teaching him. Does she have everything that she needs in order to provide him with a good environment to be able to learn? Because those things are important. Because if she doesn't have everything that she needs, she's not going to be able to give him what he needs. And if she's stressed out and not getting paid enough, she's going to say, hey, she might snap one day.
right.
Those things are important. You were going to say something.
And I was going to say right, because we don't think I'm big on like mental health. I believe everyone goes through stress. If you're stressed at home over your work environment, you're going to take that and relieve it on your coworkers or your students. So we all have to look out for each other.
We do. And so if I can vote to make sure that that millage goes through so that we can get some air condition in the building, absolutely. Because who wants to teach a bunch of 5-year-olds? You know they already smelly and there's no air condition. I shouldn't say that. But little kids have cooties. They do. They done been outside. I can't even imagine being in a room with seventh graders after they done been to the gym. Ugh. And no air conditioning.
No AC.
Mm-mm. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine sitting in church and not have no air conditioning. No ceiling fans, no nothing. What? Whew.
Torture.
And those are not good working conditions. They really aren't. Those aren't good working conditions. So those are important reasons to vote. I just got a inbox yesterday saying, please, Dr. Kimberly, can you show up at this meeting? And I'm just reading through it. And I had to say, I'm so, I mean, it's important, but I'm like, I'm beyond that at this point, but I will see what I can do, if nothing else, but to, show my support for their cause. I can definitely do that.
Go
Mm.
ahead, go ahead and write them a letter on their behalf from you. Then somebody could just read it.
See, I love you. I appreciate you.
We all got we got a lot of excuses, but no one want to problem solve. We just got to keep moving forward. It's a way to get things done.
I think that's what I probably appreciate the most about being in this community, DIS community, is we look for solutions versus staying focused on the problem. And I think for me, as I look at these commercials, what's being said, I think my grandmother always used to tell me that if you have to tear other people down to make yourself look good, then you're not any good.
Mm.
And I know y'all not telling me the whole truth about whatever it is that you're trying to say is bad about this person. And I always have to say, well, if she did that, what did you do? What did you do? And how you know? And why are you looking for that on her? I mean, they find anything. And just like the whole thing about the electric cars. And I said, do you know how many jobs that could produce? All of the intricate pieces that go into that electric car, and then the pieces that have to be made for people's homes in order to have them. That's that's twice as many jobs than just working on a line in a factory and slapping something together.
Right.
Thank you, Secrest. Secrest gave us some hearts and some love. I appreciate you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I'm sorry, I've been so busy in our conversation that thank you to everybody who is tuned in to the conversation on today. I have just really been enjoying Vaughn. I'm here to tell you, I just really been enjoying the conversation, and I don't mean to ignore everybody, but sometimes people just capture you, and I'm just so enthralled that you say you have learning disabilities, but everything that you have spoken, you have been so astute. You gave some really great nuggets here.
I shock myself at times, I must say. I just told my son's teacher, one of his teachers, we sat down and had like a 30-45 minute meeting, and we were talking about disabilities, this PTSD, ADHD. I call those superpowers.
Me too, child.
I don't want to be normal. I don't want to be normal. I feel that my superpowers keep me alert. They go off. Um, so I don't. This whole learning disability, I don't know where it came from. I catch on real easily, real quick. I might, get so much information you're gonna have to repeat it twice or three times. But for the most part, I don't think it's too hard to learn a few different things, skills, how to do something, tie your shoe. With the right teacher, I believe anybody can learn anything. It's all depends on your teacher. Um, if your
Secret
teacher,
said, "Amen." Yes, thank you, Secret.
if your teacher fails, then you can't succeed. You're an example of what you came from, and we have a lot of teachers in a society.
Preach that. Oh my gosh. See, here we go. There you go again, dropping them little nuggets. You know that if they're not learning, maybe you're not teaching well. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We have just a few minutes left here. We're going to say it's 54 minutes after the hour, and we want to say thank you so much for tuning into Rolling on the Road to Victory. Michigan is a swing state. We're a part of 7 states that our collective 93 electoral votes will decide the presidency Mm-hmm. But Michigan in particular, everybody has been courting us and hanging out here, and we enjoy it. Thank you, Reggie. I appreciate you, a fellow veteran. Woohoo!
Yay.
Ooh, that's it. Um, so just know that you need to vote because we have power. There are people who have been flying in and out of here. Obama was just here. I mean, we're pulling in some big name folks. That's how important we are. And that's how important your vote is. That everyone is trying to get it. And as it stands right now, the race is neck and neck with everybody. And from our U.S. Senate to the presidency. And it looks like Michigan is going to be the deciding factor. So if you didn't think that your vote count, just know that on November 5th of 2024, all eyes will be on Michigan, and your vote, if it never counted before, will count this year.
Definitely will.
Your vote will count. So, what they say, glad to be in the number. You better be glad. Come on, get in that number. Me personally, I want all of them to see me. I'm a wheel right on in there. And I'm gonna be like, I'm voting, people. I'm here. I'm voting. I want them to see me that I voted. And we don't have that many people because in my district, we're a lot of seniors in my district. The lines are not that long because can't nobody stand that long. I'm just saying, okay? Okay. Can't nobody stand that long. So they're gonna go in there, do what they got to do, and come on out. And all that little stuff is all up to par. So we're gonna be good to go. I'm excited and I want y'all to see this here first. It was rolling on the road to victory that black men do vote and they are voting Democrat. So stop listening to all that rhetoric that's on TV and that's on social media saying that black men are not voting and that they're all voting for Trump. He ain't getting no check. Did he give you a check?
No, 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 no. You bring that since you bring that up. I just had this conversation. If you think Trump getting back in office to give you another stimulus check, if y'all don't cut it out, cut it out. Kamala is coming into office to make sure you get a well-paid check each week. That's more than that stimulus check. Young people is get to work, get these trades, go get you a trade job. If you don't want to go work that minimum wage, trade jobs save you a lot of money. Trade job is the way to go.
Yes. And that's a word right there. See? And he's talking about he got some kind young man, young man, young man. You dropped some great nuggets on us today. I don't know who that word had told you. That lie. You can have PTSD if you want to, but the way you learn and the way you're able to communicate what you've learned, I think you would make a really great teacher. But we need you doing what you're doing. We need you to continue to set the stage for us. And I say that because if you missed the very beginning, he set the stage up for Vice President, presidential candidate Kamala Harris that she stepped on Friday here in Grand Rapids at Riverside Park. So y'all put your hands together. This young man set the stage, and people don't think about that. You know who there were that did that. He did that.
It takes a
Mhm.
strong union to do that. And my local 26 has a good young people, and we're helped by a great generation of older people that teaches us very well and how to get the job done correctly, safely, and fast.
Did y'all hear that? So that's what you need to vote for. We need to have a union because it was a union that made sure that he had that good job setting the stage. And I think that's setting the stage for what our future is going to look like. Look at all that.
See how it works.
I'm trying to tell you. And then not only did he do all of that, they put all them pretty flowers up there. And I just have to say this, you have not because you ask not. And I said, what are they going to do with all the wonderful flowers? And he said, well, usually they just get rid of them. And I said, I want that one. And all I did was text him my address. So I love it. Sitting on my porch right now, that plant was on stage with Vice President, presidential candidate Kamala Harris, and it was up there with Hillary Skolton, and it was up there with five. Was it five? Yeah, it was five. Five governors, including our own. Maybe it might have been six.
Might have
Because
been, I don't even know, 5 or 6.
but it was our governor that spoke and led the team out. Big Grudge.
Big Rich,
Yeah,
superpower woman right there.
that one right there.
She don't play that.
She said, what she said, GSD. We like GSD. She said, yeah, get shit done. Woo! I could say it because the governor said it. I'm just saying. He said it quite a few times.
A few times.
Oh my gosh. And she said, and the reason I got to see Tim Walz, who is our vice president candidate. And when she was talking about him, and she came out and she said, I like him. She said, because he cussed more than I do. So I'm telling you, it has just been busy since about the beginning of September. I have been going. And I have been remiss in doing all of these posts, but I promise I'm gonna actually take the time and get some of this up. Because I'm telling you, if you don't take a picture, it didn't happen and you wasn't there. I have a plethora of pictures that need to go up because I have been in the room with greatness. And actually, I think it might have even started towards the end of August, going into September, because our first Michigan Supreme Court Justice, Kyra Harris Bolden, was here, and she actually came to my job, and we walked around. She did a political video with me. I should say of me. I haven't even posted it, y'all. I
Holding
just,
out.
but it's just been great. I want to say thank you to Taz Jones for tuning in. I could call her Taz, but that's Shantaz. Shantaz. That's my Taz. Mhm. Yeah, she's awesome. She'll tell you in a minute. Uh, Dr. Kimberly, I am not political, but I will do whatever you tell me to do because I trust you. So, if you are a trusted voice in someone's life, please do your research and vote. Because if in no other year and if in no other election, trust me, if you live in the state of Michigan, your vote is going to count for the presidency because all eyes are on Michigan. Thank you so much, Vaughn, for coming on here and having the conversation with me. I appreciate you so much. I'm sure we'll see each other in the upcoming days with only 15 days left. We are down to the press 15 days.
Thank you for
And
having me.
we'll be out. Give your son some hugs and kisses and tell him Titi Kim said hello.
I will.
And we appreciate him sharing his dad on today. We really, really do. Keep up the good work.
I
Keep
will.
talking to folks and keep informing them. On tomorrow, our guest is going to be Reverend Dr. Golston. We're going to talk about the church's uh, influence, impact, and what their responsibility is in voting. That's going to be a good one because they say that church and state don't mix, but we about to mix and match tomorrow. Mhm. Told you I got old now. If I had hair, it would be all white. I'm trying to tell you, it would be all white if I had any. But thank you, sir. And tell your granny we said hey,
I will. I
and
got
we appreciate her, and we thank God for the influence that she has had in your life because she has helped to shape and create a wonderful young man who is more than doing his part, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
appreciate
We
you all.
appreciate her and give her a great big old God bless you. And we appreciate you. And I will see you out there on that campaign trail.
All right. Appreciate you all. Thank you for having me. I see you soon.
All righty.